Welcome back to our channel. Today we are breaking down a significant geopolitical development in Sochi, Russia, where President Vladimir Putin has pledged a total support to African nations. This commitment, conveyed by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, highlights Moscow's growing influence across Africa amid shifting alliances. So what does this mean for Africa and the world? For years, African nations have maintained ties with Western countries, but now a shift is underway. Several African nations, including Mali and Burkina Faso, have distanced themselves from former colonial powers and are uniting and turning to Russia for support, particularly in combating terrorism and insurgency. This alignment has resulted in increased cooperation with Moscow, ranging from security to energy and telecommunications projects. At the Sochi summit, Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister Kalamako Jean-Marie Traoré and Mali's Abdoulaye Diop voiced support for Russia's contrasting with what they describe as the neo-colonial relationship of Western powers. Putin's message was clear. Russia will aid African nations not only in fighting terrorism but also in broader areas like sustainable development, health, and disaster relief. Russian private contractors, notably the Wagner Group, now operating as the African Corps under the Russian Defense Ministry, are active in countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Though their operations have fully stemmed the tide of extremist evidence, they are viewed as stabilizing forces for these countries' military leaders. Russia has also promised support without interference in African nations' internal politics, contrasting this approach with Western interventionist policies. Russia's support often comes with agreement allowing access to Africa's rich natural resources. These partnerships go beyond military aid. Mali's government, for example, has engaged Russian companies in mining, energy, and telecommunications. Additionally, Rwanda has teamed up with Moscow for nuclear energy development, with hundreds of Rwandan students already trained in Russia, including in nuclear science. However, Putin's 2019 pledge to double trade with Africa remains unfulfilled, with critics pointing out the destabilizing impacts of Russia's involvement in Africa. The West is watching Russia's influence in Africa with concern. Emmanuel Delera, the EU's special representative for the Sahel region, acknowledges the long-standing ties between Russia and African nations dating back to the Cold War. She also noted the crowded landscape in the Sahel, where countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Turkey and Iran are competing for influence. According to Delare, African countries are programmatically divesting their alliances, seeking partnership that benefits their national interests. For many African nations, Russia's no string-attached assistance is appealing. Unlike Western government, Russia doesn't impose democratic conditions or involvement in internal affairs. This appeal has led African leaders to openly criticize past Western relationships, citing perceived neo-colonialism. In Mali and Burkina Faso, for instance, Russia mercenaries have largely replaced French and UN forces, marking a stark departure from years of Western influence. The ongoing developments in Africa point to a reshaping of global alliance, with Russia now actively deepening its ties across the continent. Moscow has conducted 2 summits with African leaders in recent years, signaling long-term intentions. Meanwhile, as Africa's relationship diversity, the West faces the challenge of redefining its role in this rapidly evolving landscape. As Russia strengthens its footprint in Africa, questions arise: will this new alliance bring security and growth in Africa? And how will this shift impact the global power balance? Let us know your thoughts on Russia's growing influence in Africa in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on global events.